Hello, yeah, Pineapple 762 here. Just want to talk a little bit about fuel efficiency in the Hyundai i20 diesel, common rail diesel. At the moment you can see the computer display. It says 72.3 miles per gallon. The stated miles per gallon for combined urban and rural driving is 64 miles per gallon official. This 72.3 miles per gallon, I think there's something wrong with the computer, but it never is that. Sometimes I will measure it and it's about 64, and it is dead on 64, and it's this is usually about 12 miles per gallon too much, so I'm probably running at about 60 miles per gallon. Just a few things just to improve fuel efficiency, I would say. One of the things is I quite often drive at the right amount of revs, so rev meter. So the revs I drive at is 1,850. So in fourth gear that will give you about 40 miles an hour. On fifth gear it's about 54 miles an hour, something like that, 52 miles an hour. And that's the most fuel efficient way speed that I think I could drive at. Another way you can improve your fuel efficiency is making sure your tyres are at the right pressure. Standard Gumhole tyre. Rating is 34 pounds per square inch. This is one of them pressure meters that you can get. You simply undo the little plastic knob, push it in, make sure you get around about 34, if not pump it up. Another way I improve fuel efficiency is make sure my injectors are nice and clean. So every around about 4 months, 5 months, I put maybe half a bottle of this sort of stuff in before I fill up, and then I fill up, and so the car has a whole chance of cleaning the injectors through for a whole full tank of petrol, or diesel in this case. It's the boot of my car. Trying to put too much junk in your car. Extra weight means I would say don't bother trying one of these. It's an air intake. All you do, you take off your airbox and put this on. It made a nice sound, but didn't really improve fuel efficiency. I think it went down a little bit, so I took it back off. So don't bother trying one of these. However, I would recommend this method. This is the bottom of the grille of the car. If you can see this, going from left to right, I've got half of my radiator grille covered with it's like a silver reflective sheet. You can get these at B&Q or any good hardware store. I've not really got it attached apart from at the top, so it goes right to the top. Right at the top I've just got some cable ties tied in. I think that's helped, because I think it runs too cold in the winter, in the middle of winter. I think the car in winter is running a bit too cold, the engine's a bit too cold. So I noticed when I used to have a car that used to overheat quite a bit. Apart from overheating, one of the things that gave me really good fuel efficiency. I'm just doing this as a trial, just to see if it improves fuel efficiency. I think it does. I'm going to keep it there even for the summer. We'll see how it goes. If it gets overheated, I'll definitely take it off straight away. Okay, engine compartment. There's a little sensor in there, so do air intake. Here's your air filter and everything. Make sure this is properly plugged in, because once I had it not so properly plugged in and gave me lousy fuel efficiency for quite a while. So I'm just going to make sure that's in. That's pushed in. Engine compartment, old dipstick. Make sure we've got enough oil in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the oil today for full synthetic, and I'm also going to add some Slick 50 in it. Engine treatment, Slick 50. Good for 80,000 miles. Don't know if that's true or not. Pretty good if you put it in. I think it takes out a quarter of a litre. Fully synthetic for Asda. Pretty cheap. I think it's £16 for 5 litre. Also a while ago, this one is Slick 50 formula for gearboxes. I stuck some Slick 50 in a gearbox a long time ago. I've left it there. Seemed to have helped as well. I'll show you what it is. Here's the water intake. I'm using my stick down there, if you can see it, where I'm poking at that. See that? Take that sensor out, and then you can get a spanner, undo it, and you can pour the Slick 50 gear oil into that hole there. Don't overfill it. Anything overfills, what I did was probably drain some of the oil in there first, so have your car on level ground, and then stuck the Slick 50 gear oil in there. So it shouldn't be overfilled. It's designed so that when you undo the nut, when it's level, that's maximum amount of oil it can be, so if nothing else falls out. So I took some out and then replaced it with Slick 50 gear oil. Okay, so all you need for oil changing oil is my ratchet. This is a 28mm socket spanner. That is your air filter compartment. Oh, sorry, oil filter compartment. Do one of these. Your O-ring for the bottom of the sump. I'll show you what it is in a minute. So the procedure is, I'll make sure that well, I'm not even going to jack up my car. I'm going to put it on a little bit of a slope where I'm going to put the gears in reverse so it can't crush me, and so when you have to jack it up and I can reach the bottom of the car. So drain out all the oil, catch it in something like this, and then put the socket on, mash it on, undo it. This lid is in the way but it will come straight off. And then change the oil filter. There's the oil filter. You can't really get this oil filter in your local Halfords. They don't stock them. You'll have to go to one of them firms that deliver car parts. So if you go along there, they will deal with non-trade as well. Pretty cheap. I think it's £6.95. So don't listen to your local Hyundai garage and said, oh, you've got to bring it to us. You don't have to. It's quite simple. All you do is undo that. The old oil filter is on like a spike. You just put the spike in. It's quite messy, so I'm not going to really do it in front of you in case I splash something on my camera. Replace the nut and in the sump with a new O-ring. Then you pour the new oil in. I think this car officially takes 5.16 litres of oil, but because you're never going to get all of it out, it probably normally it's about 4 litres. Use a dipstick check, never overfill. As you know, use a dipstick, and if you can see there's like should be 2 little notches if you clean it, and then I'll try and clean it. Okay, well, you see the 2 little holes. The hole with the F on it, that's when you've got maximum amount of oil, and the second hole is the minimum amount of oil, so never go above the maximum, or you can blow the head gasket. So the whole point of this video is to improve the fuel efficiency of the car. So I've checked already loads of things I've already done, so I'm just adding some new Slick 50 in it, new oil. I'm going to drive it probably about 50 miles, pretty loaded with 100 kilograms of weight, and hopefully from 72.3 I think it was miles per gallon, hopefully it'll go up a bit on the computer, but actual is probably about 58 at the moment. Hopefully it'll go back up to 64. One more very important thing, buy your fuel from the right source. I think at the moment, forget about BP, forget about Shell, that's lousy petrol, diesel, forget about the supermarkets. The only one I think is the best at the moment, gives you the best fuel efficiency, is Esso. So that's where I get mine from now. It's a penny more than Shell, but they give you much more octanes in your fuel, so much more energy per litre. So that means you don't have to put your foot down so much and you don't use so much. Okay, a 17mm spanner for the oil sump. It's just here. I'll tell you what it is. So that's the location of all sump. There's the car's on a bit of a slope. But it can't reverse gear, so it can't at all roll on me. I've not even jacked it up. Okay, so the oil's coming out into the bucket. Just taking the thingy. Just taking the old sump plug out. It should be a some O-ring down there somewhere. I'll replace that. Stop. Okay, so here's the new O-ring or washer for the oil sump. Goes back in. Okay, here's my 4 litres of used oil. Underneath I put the oil sump plug back in using a 17mm spanner. Make sure the oil goes into a appropriate container and taken down to the recycling plant. The oil really isn't that bad for the environment. If you spill oil on the grass, really it's a bit like fertiliser, it's not that bad, but do try and dispose of oil properly. What is quite bad for environment is actually antifreeze. That's very toxic stuff for animals and plants. Okay, engine pot. It should be oilless, lack of oil now. Set it off. Right, with the extension, ratchet. The oil filter comes with an O-ring. These are proper O-rings. Can't remember if I need it or not. Let's have a look. It's quite stiff. That's bad if you got the right tool. Quite messy, be careful. It is. Just again, it looks a bit like that. There's the old oil filter, and it's on the spike, like a plastic spike. Shove it straight off like that. Now looking at it, both sides look the same. New oil filter, put it straight in, spike it on. Okay, that's in. Get the old new oil ring, the old one. Well, probably best just to give a little squeeze. You see that? And the old ring pops up. There you go. Comes the old one. If they give you a new one, you might as well change it as well. I probably will keep the old one just in case I've got use for it somewhere else at another time. You never know, a bit of plumbing or something. Do something like that. Put a bit of oil around the old ring. Cut. Right, there's a tiny little oil ring there. You forgot about that. One might be a bit tricky to take off. Same technique though. Push it. Okay, cut. And there's the old ring. Take it off with a spanner. Doesn't really matter if I damaged it. I'm not really using it much. New one. Okay, a bit of oil around it. Replacing the filter lid. There we go, not too tight, never get it off again. Now for the oil, got a funnel here. Taking the lid off, make sure the engine's not too hot. I've just been running as I burn itself. Goes in there. I'm going to estimate 4 litres of oil to start with, roughly. So there's my fully synthetic, about £16 with 5 litres. As do at the moment. They were doing it a bit cheaper than that a few months ago. Fully synthetic is better than mineral. 5W40. The 5 stands for the runniness of it. I like mine to be a bit more runnier, less friction. You can go for, I think, somewhere from 15 full W40 to something like 5 W40. But I'll try and estimate. This is a 5 litre bowl. I'll leave myself about 3.5 litre. I'll stop and check. Oh, I forgot. Better stop at about 3 litres and a quarter, because I want a quart for the Slick 50. I'm going to stop just there. I reckon there's about 2 litres left in there. I'm just going to check. It's kind of level, although it's on a funny slope. Overall, the engine is level, so that comes dipstick check. Wipe it. Put it in. See what I've got to. It's got a clear colour now. Nowhere yet. I think I'm just going to add the Slick 50 in now. Whole bottle. Another one of them foil things. If you're ever adding these treatment things, then make sure this foil here doesn't drop into, if you're adding fuel, say fuel cleaner, and that these are very fragile, they don't drop into the fuel. I've got it in there, don't want to waste any. Go straight in. £22.50, made of PTFE, most slippery substance. Was known to man, I don't know what it is now. Straight in. You put these on frying pans, non-stick frying pans. Check the dipstick again. Just at the bottom now. Looking at it's probably hit the mark. The difference between overfilling it and underfilling it is tiny. So you stop regularly now. Try that again. Okay, so in between, low and the high point. Another little squeeze would do. I reckon that'll be enough. It's kind of clear oil's right in that hole. So maximum. There we go over the maximum. Blow your head gasket. Okay, the whole job's done. Time to reset the miles per gallon. I've got my son, who's quite a big lad, sitting in the car, so really what should happen is the fuel efficiency should go down. I've not got the best sort of diesel in at the moment. I've got like a mixture between SO and Shell. SO, like I said, is the best at the moment. Things can change. They're at different octanes. People used to, the garages used to tell you what octanes what. I've just reset the miles per gallon. They don't do it anymore. But definitely some fuels just fly through your system, while others just hang in there and give you loads of torque and loads of push. So you have to really find out what's best for your car. For this one at the moment, it's SO. So I'm going to do about 56 miles, and then we'll check that miles per gallon and see what it is. So it's at 9 degrees at the moment today. It's not too bad temperature. The colder it is, the less fuel efficient the car is. Like I said, that's why I put that like a radiator blocker thing at the front, just to make the car heat up a bit more. Well, the way I take find the miles per gallon the car does, what I do is I run the car for a week or so, check the mileage, and then fill the car back up petrol, because every week I fill it right to the top. So I from the receipt I get, I know how many litres I've used, and you multiply the litres by 0.22, and that gives you the amount of gallons. So you have the miles done per week. On this computer it will be, which one's that? There you go. This week I've done 391 miles. So when I refill, I'll reset that so 0, and then the next time I fill up, I know how many litres I've used and how many miles I've done. So I'll get the miles I've done divided by the amount of gallons. Remember, you multiply the litres that you used by 0.22 to give you gallons. On the road, that thing there, like where. Okay, around about 63 miles later, I take a detour because of all the traffic jam. As you can see, with the addition of the Slick 50 and the change of oil, probably more than Slick 50, that's had the effect. The miles per gallon thing has jumped up from 72.6 on the clock here to 78.6 miles per gallon. So really, in effect, it reflects 78.6 is probably only about, in reality, 63.5 miles per gallon. But that was, you know, the Stick 50 has got to take time running. It tends to work better and better. In a minute I shall refill with some SO diesel, and from there I can use the mileage, which at the moment the trip mileage says it's 450.7 miles. I use that figure to use in the calculation. Well, I've probably got about a mile to go before I get to the petrol station, so probably about 451.7. Okay, so I've just done an extra 2 miles from the petrol station to my destination. It says there on the clock I've got 489 miles in the fuel tank before it runs out. The way I make sure how many litres I do, I don't really rely on this computer, although it tells me my last little journey there was 76.3 miles per gallon. I don't really rely on it. The way I do it, remember, I just fill it up, and then you calculate how many miles I do, and then divide one by the other, miles per gallon. So filled it up to the top, and it was, according to the receipt, 32.13 litres, which equals 7.06 gallons, because you multiply 32.13 by 0.22. My total journey for the whole trip until the petrol station was 450.5 miles, and that, so 450.5 divided by 7.068 gallons gives me miles per gallon 63.72 miles per gallon. It's pretty much what the manual says. Not forgetting also, prior to working it out, I think on the clock it was 72.3 miles per gallon, so it's about 10 miles per gallon off. But I'm pretty pleased with that anyway. But bearing in mind, 60 miles of that was with the Slick 50 in, so next time with the 650 I'm pretty sure I'll get more than 63.72. Maximum I've had on this car is 67.5 miles per gallon. So I would say in the past, Slick 50 at £23 a bottle wasn't worth it, but I think these days definitely worth it.